Hey folks, it's Dizzy. Welcome back to Skip Squad Chronicles. Today I'm so excited to bring you episode 11 featuring the unstoppable Mira Wate. Mira is a jump rope expert. She's won many awards and competitions, not just in Germany, but across the EU and beyond. And her impact on the sport is, well, staggering. She's a coach, a performer, an educator, entrepreneur, and the founder of Wate Rope, a brand that reflects her commitment to jump rope excellence and inclusivity. Mira's ambition and positivity are so infectious. She's traveled the world spreading jump rope love and education. She's a relentlessly positive community organizer and always brings her signature smile to everything she does. Despite her packed schedule, Mira took the time to sit down with me and have a little chat, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to dive into her story. It was an inspiring and fun conversation, and I can't wait for you to hear it. So let's jump right in. Mira Waterkotte, thank you so much for joining me on Skip Squad Chronicles. I'm so excited to have you here and talk to you.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm as excited as you.
Oh, that's terrific. As we said, I'm trying to represent for Germany. I've got my Wate rope here. By the way, you personalize these ropes by putting names on them, and that is just amazing. That was so nice to get my rope with Dizzy on it.
You're so welcome.
Yeah, thank you. So, Mira, you are a coach, you're an entrepreneur, you have a jump rope business. You're a multiple award winner. I think you were a national champion for like 6 years in a row, correct? And you've been a champion in the EU as well. You have done jump rope for much of your life, haven't you?
Yeah, I actually started when I was 7, and ever since it stuck to me. And I'm now more in the role of doing show performances as an artist or giving back in coaching kids, athletes, and adults. And at the end, it's all about keeping the passion up and having fun skipping, right?
Yeah. Well, I will say that having fun comes through in all your videos. I've joked that you are one of the smiliest skippers on Instagram, and I just think the positivity that you bring to the jump rope community is amazing, and the inspiration too.
That's very kind. Thanks. I really appreciate it because that's what I want to, how do you say, show basically to that it can be fun for everybody, and everybody can learn it and just give it a go.
Yeah. Well, I think you do
Thanks.
that quite effectively. I'm curious, you've got so much stuff going on. What does an average workday look like for you? Like jump rope is your profession, right? Like you don't have a day job. This is your day job.
Yeah, that's actually my passion. I always say it's a passion which turned into a profession. So so basically that's how it started. It's very interesting because every day looks very different. And it's not every day is super planned because I don't want to have it, like fixed in a role and I have to do it because that's my job. And obviously it's my job. I need to make money with it. I mean, I need to live with it and pay rent and food and everything. So it's always different. So sometimes I decide like quite spontaneously that I saw a cool song I like and I want to do a performance too. So I do a video, but then I do a phone call. I don't know, with somebody who's interested in show performances. So I explain everything, how it rolls, because I have different costumes, different show length, different music and different options regarding the show. So every day is kind of exciting. Obviously, I get emails which I answer. Then I have the Wate Rope shop and online coaching, live coaching, athlete coaching. So you can tell it's like a lot, but I think that what makes it so fun and so special. And I try to do less planning, which makes it not that efficient, but keeps it fun. And that's the most important thing for me.
Yeah, that's great. I saw in looking at your site, like you do corporate team building, and then you mentioned performances. What type of people hire you to do performances?
Actually, kind of different people. So a lot of HR want to do like new benefits for the employees. For example, in like, let's say a day of jump rope. So I do jump rope workshops, team buildings, and then performing at night. For example, companies, but also variety. I always say pronounce it wrong, but I hope you understand. It's like when like
Variety.
kind of circus work. Yeah. So that's also what I do every now and then. Um, yeah. And I mean, I also did like birthday parties or like special occasions for private people. So everybody could book me if they're interested. And I'm super
That's really
open
cool.
for it. Yeah. And it's always fun and it's always different to perform. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet. I hadn't really thought of it as corporate team building, but that would be such an awesome corporate team building venture, like just get a whole bunch of people together and start learning jump rope.
Yeah. And actually, my goal with the team building, for example, is because, I mean, the ropes are assembled by people with disabilities. So my goal is to do it more inclusively so that even like a person in a wheelchair, and I know it sounds like absurd, but I would even try to get this person included into the team building. So obviously the
Sure.
person cannot jump, but you could, make them work or include them into the team building. So that's my admiration, if that's a word for
Yeah.
it. Remember, it's my second language, so I'm very sorry,
Yeah.
trying my best. Everybody
Your English
understand.
is so much better than my German. I will say
Yeah.
that.
It's okay. But yeah.
Yeah. With regard to like your coaching, I know you do one-on-one coaching. You also do seminars and things like that. How many? I think I read on your site that you've coached over 10,000 people over the years, or something like that. How
Yeah.
many people do you coach now on an ongoing basis?
On an ongoing basis, yeah. I mean, if you include the classes I'm coaching, I think it's maybe 50 people, more or less.
Okay.
So yeah, it's I mean, including kids, adults, and teenagers. So athlete coaching, preparing for world championships. So kind of all like actively. And then there might be people who bought the online coaching from the website, so the beginner coaching. So they might be also learning from it. So at the end, I cannot really tell. And then obviously there's like YouTube. So maybe people are using YouTube to learn from me, or even like Instagram, the quicker tutorials. So yeah, at the end, I'm not so sure. But I mean, I'm always happy for everybody who is
Yeah.
inspired to learn.
Yeah, I noticed on your YouTube, people can subscribe and actually sort of like pay a monthly fee to get certain videos and perks and things like that.
Yeah, you're actually super right with that, and reminding me that I need to update this because that's not really up to date. But a good
Okay.
reminder that I have to look into it, and this is a good confirmation for me to see I do so many different things that I need to be more up to date. But then, for example, it's more important that we meet today, or that that we're in touch, than looking up the subscription model on YouTube. So as you can see, it's always priorities. And yeah, I got a little bit like stuck with that. I haven't been looking into that. But then in this case, we have the time talking, and that was, more priority for the moment.
Well, I appreciate your prioritizing this. This is wonderful.
Yeah, trying.
I'm curious, when you're coaching, do you have a different approach, or do you have a standard approach when you're coaching beginners versus more advanced students, or you're trying to prepare someone for a competition? Like, how do you start with those different types of people?
Yeah, that's a very good question, actually. Yeah, it's a very good question, because some people are mad because I'm not doing group coaching anymore, and it's never about the money. It's just that I notice, especially athletes or people who want to learn from scratch or want to learn like certain skills, for example, mic release, all these things, that it needs some time and it needs some structure. And then obviously I could have, let's say, even 2 or 5 people in one group, so a small group, but everybody learns different and everybody has different level. And it's stressing me out because I want to make people get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm very, very, very ambitious. So I want everybody to achieve it. And I noticed when I, like back in COVID times, where I had like 3 full classes with people all over the world, with, I don't know, 8 to 12 people in one class, that I've got very, very ambitious, and I couldn't, how do you say? I don't even know how to say in German, but I really wanted to get them the skill, make the skill. And sometimes it was not possible, or that they just needed longer time. So I decided to go back to one-on-one and let's say, be more like accurate on this. And then, for example, athletes have like a proper training plan, which they follow, also with video analysis. So they send me skills. So if they're stuck, they send it to me. I can give them a video analysis, and they, get pushed like faster. So even though I don't have time to coach them like the next day, I can still be in touch and help them. For example, but even, also adult is like a similar thing. So it's always what you want to learn is in focus. And for example, if somebody says, I want to learn mic release so bad, then we try to work on skills before to get the mic release faster. And I leave out other skills, for example, some footwork skills, which might be not so important for that person.
Right.
But the mic release is like number one priority. So then the coaching is obviously like guiding to the mic release. But just an example. So it's very, very individual. And then it's also more fun. It's not like, everybody needs to learn this. Of course, there are like skills I recommend everybody to know, or things we learn in like games or as a warm-up, like as an additional warm-up. But all in all, it's about what you want to learn, and that's your goal we try to achieve together. So it's more fun.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's on brand with your wanting to be inclusive. Like when you have a group of people and people are at different levels and stuff, I could imagine that gets a little stressful when you don't want to leave somebody behind and you want to make sure everybody gets the maximum value out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm open. I'm not saying I will not do it again. It's just, I think I'm super ambitious and I try, to make everybody happy. So I will see if I'm going to do it again, because I mean, we always still had a good time and I never had the feeling somebody was left out, but
Right.
Yeah. Let's see.
I'm wondering, like when you're starting with new students, how do you approach things in a way that gives people momentum so that they continually make progress? I guess I'll tell you, like when I started out, I'm kind of crazy, right? I went out and I jumped for 2 hours the first day, and then I jumped for 2 hours the next day. And I injured myself outside, right? And I just had the bug, So as soon as I healed, which took like 6 weeks, I was back out and I was jumping, but I eased into it because it was very important to me. But I can see some people start and they get frustrated because they keep tripping up and they're like, I just don't want to do this anymore. This makes me feel stupid. How do you get people to get that momentum, to get that excitement so they keep going?
Sometimes I think it's just like, talking to each other and seeing what is the issue. And often it's because what I notice a lot is people learning from videos and then they're stuck, or they even started learning from videos and then they notice, okay, so I have shin splits, I have all these problems. How would I have known? I would not have started. Or then the worst, in my opinion, when I see you, is you got the bug, you got like kind of addicted, and then psychologically your brain is like, oh my God. And then you get like, depression is like a hard word, but you really fall, right? So it's like not like a good feeling because you feel stopped, although you want to keep going. And it's just your body, what's stopping you. Your mind could do it. So I think like for every beginner who's starting jump rope, or who's like, I can feel my body a little bit, make sure to have enough breaks. And I don't know, you said you started like jumping 2 hours, right?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
way
it's a
too
good
much.
thing, because that means like you got ambitious and you didn't want to give up. So, you're like, that makes me so happy. And I mean, it's known that jump rope spreads endorphin tremendously. But in my opinion, so if we're talking and somebody is listening who's like an absolute beginner or just at the beginning, write down into your calendar when you jump. So let's say maximum, 3 to 4 times a week. You could even jump every day, but as we know, it's good to have a break and start with literally just like 5 minutes of active jumping, and then like increase the jumping time, or let's say jumping and swings as an active break. So that could, separate the jumping part. But like to go like more slow into it, because that can cause shin splits because you're not used to it. Or even this, I don't know the word. In German, we call it Achilles. It's like the back part.
Yep.
It's,
the Achilles tendon.
Achilles,
I had plantar fasciitis, which is...
Yeah, I've heard of it. It's like even worse.
Yeah, it was one of the most painful things I've ever had. I would wake up in the morning and just roll out of bed onto my hands and knees and crawl to the bathroom because it hurt so much to walk.
And it was from jumping rope?
Yeah, it's because I didn't warm up at all. I was just so excited, and I went out and I jumped for 2 hours on Christmas and 2 hours on Christmas, or 2 hours on Christmas Eve, and then 2 hours again on Christmas. And I got to the point where I hurt so bad I was jumping on one foot, and I wasn't listening to my body, right? And so I injured myself. Um, but once I got back, then I took it easy and sort of eased back into it, and I built things up.
Yeah.
One of the things I am really excited about is my Wate Rope. And I would like you to
Good.
talk a little bit about Wate Rope and when you started that brand. I guess one of the things I will just say as an observer is I've bought jump ropes from all sorts of different manufacturers, and I've made my own jump ropes. And I think, I've heard some people say, like, a jump rope is a jump rope. And to some degree, that's kind of true. I mean, there's a rope, there's handles, there's beads sometimes if it's a beaded rope.
If we're lucky.
Right. But there are some differences in quality. But I've seen a lot of jump ropes just, shipped straight from China, and they all look basically the same. They're just little different colors. Your ropes are quite different. Like, this is the first rope I ever had with a wooden handle. It's got a little wooden ball bearing in there. This one happens to be your heaviest beaded rope. But I love the quality. And one thing I have to say is I love that you are using local businesses and that you're working with the disabled. It makes me feel better jumping with your rope. So can you talk about starting the company and why you did?
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. It's actually, it's funny because it's not a company, but I always say it's we, because we're in this together, right? I mean, I have all these people. Without all these people, I could not build the Wate Rope. So in this case, that's why I'm always saying we, but at the end, it's me. Just also many people most probably don't know. It's just me running the business. And we are one family, like building the rope together. And without them, I couldn't do it. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can see on the Instagram. But I mean, the handles are made from Wolfgang. There's also a video how we started designing it, the handles. And all the pieces are coming from Germany. So that's also, as far as I know, that the transparent beads, they don't exist, or maybe like different colors exist, but not the colors I have, as much as I know. I'm always happy to hear new stuff about it. And so it's basically like a new design also from the timing, because when I was overseas, so when I was coaching overseas and like all the countries during my world trip, I noticed that like a lot of people have hand or like ropes which are not very good quality, and they break very fast, and they come from places nobody knows where they're from. So I decided, okay, I really want to make like a high quality rope which has like a social cause, and at the end it's supporting the local businesses. Exactly. I know everybody in person, was visiting them and talked to them. Hey, how do you produce? So I saw how they produce, how the people are, if they're happy in their company or if they hate their job, basically. And everybody just loved what they did, even though it was like bigger companies. Yeah, it was nice. Most of them are even the owners of the path. So that's even very cool. Sadly, no woman, but it doesn't matter. I'm just happy that everybody was super nice. And and then everything, all the pieces get shipped to the sheltered workshop, and then they put it together. And it supports them and gives them, a little bit of support in their life. And how do you say, there is an English word for it, but appreciation. So they feel more appreciated because they have fun. Like, and what they told me is like, they have fun work to do, because often they have these massive glass pieces. I don't know how you call it. Sorry, plastic glass. And then you pull the glass, like some foil from the glass. So like work like this, or stack like robotic stuff together. And that's like, they told me even people who are very disabled are able to put it together or to sort out like the pieces.
Beads and stuff.
So that's why, it always makes me happy. I know it's super selfish to say, but when I go there, I come back with much more energy than I came, because it's
That's
like,
wonderful.
They're so happy to see me, and I'm so happy to see them. And like,
That's
really
lovely.
like, so it's very, very rewarding. So
I bet.
if you have a bad day, go there.
Yeah. So when you need a little pick-me-up, you just go visit the people who are assembling the ropes.
Or just in general. It's always fun because they're most of the time super happy.
So, like, how much time did you spend on research and development? Why did you go with wooden handles? How long did it take you to come up with this specific design?
Yeah, actually, by accident. I wanted to do like a plastic handle, or it didn't matter to me like how the handle was made or what it was made of. But like to build
Hmm.
like the form, I think there's
Yeah,
a name for it again,
yeah,
but I
like a
forgot.
mold or something
Small
like
mold,
that.
yeah, exactly
Yeah.
that one. But to do it, it's like in Germany, it's like 50,000 euros. And I
Hmm.
said, okay, I'm not having 50,000 euro to make it made in Germany. And I couldn't find alternatives, which was at least made in Europe. So I would have been okay to say, okay, I produce in Europe, if I know the people who produce it.
Hmm.
But I just couldn't find anybody back then,
Hmm.
2019 on 2020. And then I decided, hey, why actually not? And I talked to some people, what would you think about it? And I said, that's so cool. That's actually a cool idea. And it feels very natural. And then I like natural stuff. So I thought,
Hmm.
okay, why not doing that?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's how it was like more like an emergency solution. But then now it's like so beautiful. And then I tested it like 1.5 years before I brought it to the market. I mean, I could have been bringing it
Okay.
out earlier, but then,
Hmm.
you really need courage to do it. And then it's a new product. It's not like, let's say, one of the typical ropes everybody knows. So you need
Yeah.
more explanation. And then I do everything by myself. So am I doing it right? Is it like that people
Yeah.
understand? Like it's a lot of self-doubt. People don't think that,
Sure.
but to have the courage to do it, it took me, I think, like, 1.5, 2 years to really bring it onto the market, sadly. But
Well, no, I
it's
mean,
finally there.
it takes what it takes, and I think the end result is lovely. I have so much fun with my rope, and it's helping me get buff here with this heavy rope.
I'm very happy. Yeah, that's also like super special. I think it's the only one I know on the market existing, like the world, like
Yeah,
that's why I call it like the world heaviest as well. Like if there's like a new one, please tell me. But as far
yeah,
as I know, I wanted to do something because people requested it. So
yeah.
yeah.
I've talked to some of my friends who use this rope like Skippy Immy or Aaron Jumps 365, and I think we all have decided that it's really fun to start practice with this rope
Hmm.
and work out for a while and then sort of downgrade to one of our normal beaded ropes and then
Hmm. Hmm.
downgrade to a speed rope. And you just feel like Superman, right? Or Superwoman, because you could go so fast.
Much
One thing I
heavier.
really
Yeah.
love about these heavy ropes is it feels like it's easier to learn some tricks because you get so much feedback with where the rope is.
Hmm. I was actually amazed because you were one of the first people I saw doing like advanced jump rope tricks with the heavy one, which I haven't been doing a
Mm.
lot because I use it as a fitness rope. So really to build strength
Hmm.
for example, triple unders and stuff. Um, but it was cool to see because I thought, wow, I was not like brave enough doing it or trying it. But I mean,
Hmm.
that's what let's say the normal weight ropes are for. So with
Right,
the little
right.
bit longer handles, you can cross easier, but it's not a long handle. It's not a short handle. So it's like,
Hmm.
you can hold it here, like for normal jumping, or hold it here
Yeah,
if you want to do advanced tricks. So that's why I think it has like a good weight to
yeah,
learn tricks. But it's always good feedback if you say this is like a very cool rope to learn, the heavy one. I take it
yeah.
with me. Thanks.
Yeah, I think it's great. There are certain moves that I was able to nail with the heavy rope that I hadn't been able to before. And once I
Wow.
got the practice with the heavy rope, then I could go back to my other ropes and okay, now this is how I do it, you know.
Wow.
And I think it just has to do with the amount of feedback that it gives. But
That's
I
amazing.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. So I'd like to talk quickly about like when you got into jump rope. You got started at 7. What were your first experiences with jump rope, and when did you start competing?
Yeah, actually, my best friend took me to a sports club where they offered jump rope. And then it was a village where I started and where I lived, where I used to live. And there were not a lot of people, but I started and all my friends started with me, but all of them stopped and I kept going,
Mm.
which was kind of sad. But yeah, so I had my first competition and then I turned 14 in the first competition. Then in the second competition, I turned second. And then in the third competition, I turned first place. And then, yeah,
Nice.
I try to stick to that a little bit.
So once you won, how did that affect your trajectory? Like once you started actually winning competitions, how did that change your view of jump rope or the way you approached it?
Mm, that's a very interesting question. Mm, I don't know. I think it just showed me that when you work on something you like, that you get rewarded, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I really always just enjoyed it, like building routines. Also, I was building show choreographies for myself. I mean, now for myself, but back then for
Mm-hmm.
our team and things like that. And it's really, like, especially as you most probably know, people who has never seen it, they'll be like, wow, oh my God, it's so cool. So it's kind of that rewarding that, okay, you have a skill where
Yeah.
you can also impress other people or, show other
Yeah.
people. So, yeah, interesting. Interesting. Very cool question. Don't know how to answer that.
Yeah. Yeah. When did you start learning tricks, or what was the first trick you learned?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. I think normally what you learn first is some footwork basics. So
Mm-hmm.
to get your coordination going. So that's very typical trick. So in my opinion, that's already tricks because everything what's addition to normal jumping is already a
Yeah.
jump rope trick. But that's,
Right.
I think, the first thing I learned. And then you learn some crosser swings and turns and then some leg crosses. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Were there any things that were particularly difficult for you to learn or
Oh, yeah.
harder
I
than others?
hated, I know in America, it's like known as crossover.
Uh-huh.
In Europe, it's more known as crisscross, so like a
Okay.
crossover. So it's,
Mm-hmm.
at the end, it's all the same. It doesn't matter. It's just a different name.
Right, right.
And so I was never good in crisscross because I was like going very, very fast and I wanted to go fast. So I opened my arms too fast. And I
Yep.
remember once when I was younger, the TV was there. And it was so because we have like like where we do speed, like, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, speed steps. And I was so good. Apparently, I didn't feel super good, but I was apparently very fast. And then they filmed me. They wanted to film me, but missed me because I filmed somebody else. And then I thought, okay, she's going to go again with crosses. And then I did crosses and I messed up, I don't know, 14 times, literally.
Yeah.
And they was trying to find like a spot where they was not, where I was not missing to put
Right.
on the TV back then. I mean, obviously, like back then, like TV was like a big thing. But I
Yeah.
remember this, I was never liking it. And now it's like one of my favorite things, like cross floaters. And then obviously it's one of the basics you need to know to get into harder skills.
Sure.
So yeah, so it's a hate-love relationship, basically.
Yeah.
It's a crossover.
When so was it the competitions when you started um transitioning from jump rope being more than just a hobby for you, but like when did you kind of get the bug and think, yeah, I might actually want to do this for my job. This is maybe what I want
Yeah,
to do.
no, very cool. I mean, I was always doing competitions and then I was doing show performances on the side, workshops like on the side. And then I thought, okay, I travel a little bit. Back then with my duo show partner, we were doing show performances as a duo. And we were traveling a little bit. And then I thought he wanted to go back to school because he was a teacher. And I thought, okay, I keep a little bit going. And why not? I could actually teach kids how to jump rope on my journey because, yeah, I felt like doing that. And then, yeah, I was all over the world and a lot of time in Africa and was teaching like, yeah, kids under a big tree and on dams, trash dumps and stuff. And I thought if they can forget their worries, surely everybody can. And then I
Yeah.
decided to come to Germany. Teach jump rope. I got already like do it full time from 2019. So I was always a side job, but like then it was
Mm-hmm.
like full time. COVID hit and everything got stopped, like everything got canceled and decided, okay, what should I do? And then luckily the Instagram community, people texted me and said, hey, if you would do online classes, I would do it. So that actually helped me to literally survive because I mean, I came back from a world trip. I had no money left. I was spending everything on traveling. And
Mm-hmm.
then I needed food and at least needed to pay for my small apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And that really, really helped me. So I'm very glad. I mean, not glad that COVID hit, but very glad
Right.
that there were people who really appreciated it. And yeah, we were building a community that was very nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I know I'm not sure if you saw the clip, but one of my previous guests, Sean Hargis, had mentioned when I asked him when he got started, he said, it was 2020, COVID hit. I was depressed kind of at home, and I started watching Mira's Tricky Tuesdays on YouTube and how much that meant to him and how that helped him learn. And so I was going to ask you, like, how did COVID change the face of what you were doing? So it sounds like you actually kind of converted a lot of things to online.
Yeah, I was actually, so luckily I was not converting because there was basically no job, sadly, because everything got canceled. But I think it got me more confidence to say, okay, that's how it is now. And now it's like one of the pieces I do all the time, online coaching. So it's not like, oh, I need to go, or oh, I cannot train with you, Mira. I would love to, but there are possibilities, right? So, or if we're stuck at the internet, I say, hey, we can be lucky to have the internet so we can see each other and train. Otherwise, there would be no possibility. And I think before COVID, no one had the knowledge of doing it. And it's just like a new part of business. But at the end, it's every time like, we're meeting because we can. And it's so wonderful. It's, it's like these things. And I think that's what's like the most benefit about, what happened in COVID times.
Yeah. It's so many people's jump rope origin story started around COVID or is a result of seeing people like you who were really, gung ho in COVID, or Lauren Jumps who started, putting out stuff. I'm curious, you have such a following on social media. I think you've got 90 something followers on Instagram and 106 on TikTok and 37,000 on YouTube. Do you manage all of these social presences yourself, or do you get any help?
Yeah, I actually have one girl. She's helping me with my graphics. So if you have seen some beautiful graphics within the last 6 months, she was helping me with it because she said, Mira, I cannot see this anymore. We need to make this more beautiful. You deserve better. I'm like, okay, we're going to do it. And and she also just finished her studies. So I thought, okay, it's a cool thing. So I can support her, and she's really good. So that's what she's helping me with. But filming everything is just most of the time over here or outside or it's a lot. But it needs to be fun. If it's not fun, then I think I wouldn't do it. And I would just do less or not at all. So
real quick, to go back to your traveling, I saw you posted a video, I think it was a week and a half or so ago, and then followed up with a second video about your travels to Africa. I think you went to Uganda and you had an incident where you were assaulted and sort of thought about maybe giving up a little bit and then kept going. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, I mean, in Africa, there was a lot going on because I was actually traveling with local buses or trains. So it can be like super dangerous. So that nothing happened is like, I don't know, kind of a miracle. I mean, that I just got robbed is, like a miracle because it was like kind of dangerous. And I'm very adventurous, and I try to trust the world, let's say, and trust people, cultures. But that was, not the best incidences. So we were arriving really late in the night, and normally people say, oh, you shouldn't leave, or walk around as a tourist in the evening times. And somebody, came up and then actually pushed their hand on top of my, I don't know, here. And I was wearing glasses. So back then I got my eyes lasered. But before that, like a long time before that, I was wearing glasses. So they were robbing my glasses. And then obviously tried to rob everything else. But I was very brave, but it was very dangerous. So I was actually shaking that they go away because they were actually just 14, 15, 16 years old, what we found out later on. But for the rest of the trip, I don't know, like 5 more months, I couldn't see far. So when we were traveling somewhere, I couldn't really see. And even like watching monkeys in the wild in Uganda. So I couldn't really see that because, I haven't had my glasses. So this was like the saddest part about it. But all in all, I think it's always, that we should try to see the positive in the negative. Also Uganda, somebody robbed like my laptop and all the stuff was on the laptop. I mean, I could have thought it can happen but it got rubbed out of the hotel. And I was just actually on the way to meet the female coach in Uganda. So that also makes it sad. But, I always try to see the positive, because at the end, we're so rich. We have enough food to eat every day. We can talk. We have internet. So we have a roof over our head. We have people who love us. So I think if we already have this, like, then material stuff is sad, because I had a lot of cool photos. But yeah.
But you went on to travel for an additional, like, you were gone for months, right? You said 5 months?
Yeah. So Africa was actually 6 or 7 months, I think. But in total, I was like on the go 2.5 years. So a very long time. And people say, oh my God, you must be rich to travel. I think you can travel kind of smart if you don't have a lot of things you need, So I was even like sleeping on, do you know the packages you pack the stuff? I don't know. I was sleeping like on that on the ground. I was showering with cold water in a bucket. And then you can, you can stay over for €3 a night and eat for €1 a day. So there are options how you can be very, very cheap. And then I was not traveling, for example, to the US by then, because I knew US is super expensive. But then traveling to parts of Asia or even parts of Europe and parts of Africa are super affordable to travel for a longer time. I was hitchhiking. I was doing obviously crazy stuff.
You're quite adventurous.
Yeah, quite adventurous.
Yeah. I'm curious, what do you think are like the 3 biggest mistakes that beginner jump ropers make?
That's a very interesting question. Definitely getting most of the time the wrong rope. If I see people starting with a wire rope, I think that's not the best option. Then I would say it's obviously the technique. So how they jump rope, especially with their arms, they jump out of like a full arm rather than out of like more wrist movements or forearm movements. And maybe the third thing is, I know there are different people who explain it differently, but in my personal opinion, if you have a better rope length, you can achieve skills faster, or even you can get the rope around you faster.
Right.
So that way you can, achieve things faster. So that's my opinion. So which rope, maybe technique and rope length are 3 very important things.
So when you talk about which rope, what do you recommend for a beginner? Obviously a Wate rope, right? But what type of rope?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I created the beaded rope as well, because I think a beaded rope is very good for the feedback. So in general, in this, either with short handle, or I decided to like a middle length, so you can hold it, especially as a man, like more in the middle. So men with like bigger hands have like easier grip.
Sure.
To do that. And then later on, if you say, okay, this is like super, super simple to do, I can do, 10 double under crossovers, let's say. Okay, I can definitely hold the handle like outside, and I definitely have like a longer handle, but not the longest handle. I mean, that's why I created it, because I thought it's a good option, like a 2-in-1 to get started, flexible. But then also get, better with your actual skill. Yeah.
Do you have a personal favorite rope? Like, do you have, I mean, obviously your brand of ropes, but like when you go out to jump for yourself to have fun, like, do you have a go-to rope that you grab?
Yeah, I mean, the original Wate rope was like the first one. So that's why I always liked that one. But yeah, I use all of them. And I think it's also good to use all of the different ones. I mean, also now I have like long handle ones. So it's always good to use different ropes.
Mix it up.
To get better with your skills and learn it with different feedback, different, heaviness. So
do you name your ropes like I do?
I mean, they have names, but they have names for everybody. So it's not that they're Jack or Joe.
Right.
Original,
so like
Happy Hope.
Like my Wate rope's name is Smiley, because it's named after you, because you're so smiley.
Ah, that's very cute. Oh, nice. I didn't know.
Yeah, I name them all. And I talk to them too. I'm a little crazy, but
But that's sometimes like so healing, right? So
Yeah.
to really tell your thoughts. And I mean, who cares? Nobody does. So if you feel better,
Yeah.
that's
It
the
makes
most
me laugh.
important thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I can say, I was dancing with Smiley today.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Let me just ask one more question about the future for you. So,
Oh,
and
future
how people
question.
can engage with you. Um, so my question is, what's next for Mira? Like what's next with your business and what's next on the docket for you?
That's a good question. I think what's next is always funny because people always want to know, okay, what's going on next? What's like the next big steps? But I think like maintaining what I have created, like the
Mm-hmm.
weight ropes, the jump rope meetup, like the kids coaching, like all the things. So maintain and be like, yeah, be like a nice person. I think that's already like a lot. So to maintain what I already created.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I love the social project. So I would love to do like a new social project soon. Nothing planned yet, which I did like 23, 22, 23. I did big project, buy one, donate one.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lot of work. So I will see what I want to do, what I can do
Mm-hmm.
with the community, obviously. Um, but
I
yeah,
love
to
that
stay
answer.
happy.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that
because
answer. Basically, it's just keep on trucking. Like showing up
mm,
sometimes is the tough thing, and you've got a lot to balance. So,
yeah. And as you said, like, posting every day, answering all your questions is really what I want to do and what's important to me.
hmm
And to do that frequently, like, takes a lot of time. And to do new projects will take like a new time. And yeah, I think, yeah.
well, Mira, I really, really, really appreciate you as a person, and I appreciate your support on Instagram. And I just think the world of you. I love your ropes, and I just can't thank you enough for spending your time with me on Skip Squad Chronicles. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I hope you're having a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank
Have a
you.
good coaching session. Bye bye.
Yeah, thank you. Bye bye.